So on behalf of the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome Sri Sharad Marathe, Chairman of Task Force of Ayush Ministry of Government of India and an expert in agriculture and technology. He'll be talking on today's topic on technical education in India, challenges and opportunities, and way forward for implementation, radical changes. Uh, President sir, you will be reading the profile of Sharad and introducing him.
Okay.
Okay. And also, we like to announce the presence of our senior vice president, Mr. K.R. Shekhar. He's also joined for today's session.
Thanks, Prithvi. Good evening, sir. Welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, over to you, President, sir, to take it forward.
Yeah, thanks, Prithvi. Very good evening to all. On behalf of the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, I deem it a great pleasure and privilege to extend a very, very hearty welcome to Sri Sharad Marathe. Mr. Marathe has been a very, very senior person. He has worked in several fields. He has been based in the United States since 1966, and he owns an engineering software product company there. His company also has offices in India and England. And Mr. Marathe has always been involved in the major policy development initiatives in India for more than 40 years. And nowadays he spends a lot of time in India. In 1984, he successfully got India's software export policy approved by the government. This has proved to be a huge success for India in taking Indian exports of IT services to nearly $200 billion, starting from merely 30 crores rupees in 1984. Sri Sharad Marathe has a master's degree in engineering and management, both from United States. He continues to help in policy development in various areas, such as new models in technical education, national security, and modernizing the traditional Indian healthcare systems, such as Ayurveda. Mr. Marathe, in today's presentation, will focus on the challenges and opportunities regarding engineering education in India, and will suggest a way forward. We are very honored, sir, to have your august presence, and thanks for accepting our invitation in a very short notice. And I'm sure today's address by Sri Marathe will be a great value add to all our BCIC members. Thank you very much, sir. It's over to you.
Thank you, President, sir. Shekhar, sir, you would like to add?
No, I have nothing to add with, apart from what Parasuraman said. It's a great privilege for us to have Mr. Sharad Marathe with us. We look forward for detailed deliberations with him. Certainly, we welcome you, sir, on behalf of BCS and on behalf of myself personally. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time. Over to you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir. So the platform is over to you, sir.
All right. So good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much. It's indeed a privilege for me to be a part of this presentation. And as soon as I can get this thing to set up to show full screen, then we are in good shape. Oops. What happened here? Just give me a moment. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, it's full screen now. Yes, sir.
No, but it went away again. So let's do.
We are able to see.
Is it in a full screen mode?
So it's a full screen mode, sir. You can go ahead.
It's in full screen mode.
It is. Okay, fair enough. So once again, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you all. And I hope at the end of it, my goal is to wrap up what I have to say in about between 30 and 40 minutes. And that we will have time at the end for about 15-20 minutes of Q&A. And then we can try and take it from there. I have one or two slides that we may talk a little bit more about my background, not so much to brag about what I do, but to put things in context. And as the president said, the focus today will be on technical education in India, challenges, opportunities, and way forward for implementing radical changes. Because doing changes in a very linear fashion is no longer good enough for the country as a whole, because we're wasting a lot of opportunity. Very briefly, what I thought, that I will begin with a slide and then I will end with this slide as well towards the end. And I want to bring up what I believe is what's in it for you. From what I understand, your membership is about more than 800, and it's been broken to maybe four main categories. The large companies, about 400 companies employing anything from 4,000 to 1 or 2 lakh employees. And maybe the hiring is down a little bit now because of Corona, but perhaps it was even more than 10% a year. And from what I understand, that these large companies are spending anything from half a year to 1 year to train the new employees. The next year is the medium-sized companies, about 250 of those, employing anything from 50 to 500 employees. Maybe the hiring is a little less than the large companies, obviously, and the training time is also a little less. And then comes to the small companies. Well, fair enough, but these are big numbers. So the questions, three questions I've listed here is, can we get the, for you, employees that are job ready on day one? And if so, is it possible to cut down the training time to even 3 months or less? And if we do that, this is a huge potential for return on investment. So some of the things I'm going to talk about in the presentation, I would like you to be involved a lot in what we talk in mentoring, guiding, and etc. And not as a CSR, not as a philanthropy, but because it benefits your bottom line. Very quickly, background, as the president talked about in his introduction. I won't repeat myself here.
Sir, Sharad sir, I request, this is Subramania. Are you moving to the slides or you are in the first slide only, sir?
Oh, there is, no, I am right now on the fourth slide, but
actually, it's not visible here on my screen, so that's why I thought I should inform you, sir.
Is everybody else?
Not able to see, sir.
The slides are not moving, sir.
Yes.
Is there a latency problem?
No, I don't. It's not latency. Somehow it's not moving, sir. Latency,
first slide.
second screen should have come.
I see. When we did the dry run, it seemed to work. Let me just try something here.
Sir, alternately, I have a suggestion to you, sir. You can carry on with your talk. You can circulate the presentation.
Now it is coming, sir.
Now do you see the slide that says what's in it for you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What is it for you?
Okay, I think I know what the problem was, that it was not in a full screen mode, it was in an outline mode. Okay, fair enough. But this, now that you see this slide, and I'm repeating this at the end, so I won't dwell on it again. Very quickly, the president talked about in the introduction about my background, and I've been away since '66, the last 10 years, more of it in India. But I've always stayed connected with India. And, you know, in the context of Bangalore, I will say something to you that back in 1984-85, thereabouts, Texas Instruments got their start in software, setting up a chip design center in Bangalore. Some of you recall. The approval for that scheme is based on something that I got approved in October 1984. There was no satellite communications allowed, data communication facilities, there was no email in the country. And I felt that if we were to succeed in people sitting here and doing the work, we needed a radical change in the thought process. It did not require new technology. It is just the way to harness technology that was there and changing the policy mindset in Delhi. So I spent 2 years between 82 and 84 going back and forth between India and US, and in those days spent about $250,000 of my own money to really pull this thing all together. and the thing was approved in 1984 October. And as the president said also in his remarks, this thing has worked well for the country. I hope this is the kind of radical change we can make in the engineering education and things like that. So in this regard, I do help the likes of AICTE and etc. to think different. And let's see if all of us can join together to make this kind of a thing happen. A little bit about my company also to set the context. We don't do consultancy. We have branded products of our own. Most of our customers are in North America, Europe, some in India now, and etc. And they are in a wide variety of industries, everything from the Boeings, the GEs, to Lockheed's, the US government, automotive, etc., chemical, petrochemical. Most of the big companies in the world are our customers somewhere, someplace. One little commercial I will put out here, but it's not meant as a commercial, but more as a thought process for you, that chances are if you guys are involved in technical work and hiring engineers, they're making calculations. I suspect many of them are making these calculations using Excel. If for no other reason but for quality and productivity, please ask them to stop. We'll show you an alternative, but maybe there are some other alternatives also. The present scenario in engineering education, you all know, but I'll quickly recap it, is very examination oriented, poor employability for graduates, the high training cost to you, as we talked about in the earlier slide, and loss of competitiveness for the Indian economy. This is a huge, huge drag in the economy, and you all know that China is winning the economic war. And if we are to change that process, we have to change our thinking. On the college side, some of the enrollments in a few branches are dropping because people are saying, wait a minute, I'm not getting good jobs. Why am I investing this time and money? Parents are saying that. One of the major problems is the competence of the faculty is not very good. Some steps are being taken by the government, such as the new national education policy and the All India Council of Technical Education requirement for incentives, rather internships to be included in the curriculum. But I must tell you that most of these internships are for the namesake and deal with compliance. Somebody goes and gets a certificate somewhere to show that they have completed the requirement, or at the most maybe a month in a semester break, month and a half, and that they call internships. That's not what's going to do it. And what I've got to cover here involves a much different approach. And the problem that we are talking is national, not just to the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce members. So whatever we talk here is a very broad-based issue. What are we doing to solve the problem? Well, first is there is a consortium called Indo-Universal Consortium for Engineering Education. It has about 50 colleges that are members. Dr. Krishna Vedula, who lived in America like I did many years, last 10 years I've been here as the executive director. Lady by the name Sampada Pachori is helping, as well as they have a couple of staff. And about another 50 colleges may join in. But closer to home, the RV College of Engineering in Bangalore is a member of this consortium. And Professor Subramania, who is, I think, instrumental of my being here for a couple of different reasons, and principal of the college, is also chairman of your committee on the Industry Institute interaction. He also recently was selected as a chairman of a leadership council of the participating 12 colleges that are working on a pilot project of a proof of concept, if you will. Now, we need your help in a number of areas of implementation, and I'm going to cover that in more detail as we go through. The next couple of slides, I'm not going to read it word for word, but it deals with the points that are made by the National National Education Policy, and the engineering aspects of that. I have read it cover to cover for the engineering subset of it twice, and captured some of the essence of it. And what they talk about is really motherhood issues. So you cannot question what they talk about. The problem lies in not all the good thoughts, but how do we implement this? And therein lies, I think, the challenge for all of us, as well as the opportunity to what we can do. A little bit more on the highlights of the national education policy is they want to see seamless integration and coordination across the institutions. The emphasis should be on conceptual understanding, not just the rote learning and passing for exams. Creativity and critical thinking to be brought in for logical decision-making process, as well as the life skills that are so critical on the job. And instead of everything being focused on that exam and people mugging up for the last month, can we not come up with a more a different type of assessing the students' ability to learn and what they have learned, rather than a summative assessment that occurs through the exams? And they also talk about extensive use of technology in teaching and learning. I assume that these screens are keeping up.
Yes, sir. It's happening. It's happening, sir. Yes.
Right. Now, the National Education Policy makes a few suggestions. I dwell on those couple of slides of that. They want us to move towards more into multidisciplinary undergraduate education. Then the scientific assessment methods designed to continuously improve learning and test the application of knowledge rather than mugging up formulas. Achieving global standards of quality. We all talk about it. None of us knows what that global standard of quality means. And it's a forever elusive goal that we must crack it and truly achieve quality. They look at the Toyota method of quality achievement. They talk about using better technology tools for better the participation and learning outcomes. The more important issue which I have highlighted in red here is the teacher development in multidisciplinary perspectives and knowledge under the best mentors from wherever they are. Because until we deal with the teacher problem, anything else we do is not going to work. Some more of the NEP suggestions is the standardized training programs administered to a large number of teachers within a short span of time. And I have a couple of more slides that deal on this later. A bidirectional relationship between technology and education, a rich variety of educational software to be brought in, and above all, industry involvement in improving content and delivery of education. Now, if we want to transform engineering education, what are the critical factors? First and foremost, as I said a moment ago, is large-scale training and retraining of faculty. The people just been teaching the way it has always been taught over the years. Maybe at the most they've gone from a chalk and a blackboard to PowerPoint. That's about the size of the enhancement of the methodology. We provide sustainable funding sources and that doesn't depend on the government for ongoing support, because the minute the government comes in, a lot of strings come in, bureaucracy comes in, and we don't get to focus on what needs to be done. We do need to use new models for internships, and we require a broad buy-in from a variety of stakeholders, such as institutional leadership and faculty, the students and their families, employers like yourselves and regulators like AICTE, as well as the alumni. These are like different legs of a stool. They are all important, and we must leverage those. Now, how do we do some of these things? The next generation of content and delivery model. The laws of physics are remaining the same. I don't think we need to worry about changing the laws of physics and the fundamentals of engineering and thermodynamics and etc. But what we do need is a new generation of problem solving oriented and multidisciplinary content that is market driven. Because until the market is cranked into the process, everything we do doesn't matter. It's all theoretical. A completely different method of teaching and learning linked with continuous internship model, and I'm going to cover some more of that as we go through, and interactive ebook development and publishing for Indian and global markets. And I will talk some more on that as we go along as well, because I want to keep building on these themes during the talk. The other areas to be emphasized are the soft skills, everything from written and oral communications, team-based activities, the social and emotional learning aspects involving empathy, our surroundings, the society, to get cranked in entrepreneurial thinking. Some of the colleges nowadays are starting to teach courses in entrepreneurship. I think that the issue is not just teaching a course in entrepreneurship, but bring in entrepreneurial thinking in everything we do. Until we do that, we won't make progress, because everybody doesn't need to be an entrepreneur to set up new companies. Some people may, but many people are going to work for companies, but they must bring that entrepreneurial thinking into their work. Role of statistics in a real life work environment. You cannot solve a problem until you can measure what's going on, the statistics, the defects, etc. How do we capture that data? How do we learn from that? Use that as a feedback mechanism, and to then keep cranking it, and adaptive work process. Statistics not for the sake of the theorems, but to real practical use of it. Mathematical model-based teaching and learning. People don't have a clue on what that means, but it is very, very critical if we want to become world class. Emphasizing and learning more about quality, safety and ethics, as well as project management. And all of these things, we may become very good engineers, but until these issues are covered, the rest of it doesn't matter too much. Now, this slide, I'm going to dwell on that a little bit as to continuous internship model. And what do I mean by that? I'm saying that we must have internship throughout the 4 years of college. And we would like to experiment with a new approach that involves 4 days of academics, of courses and labs, and 2 days of internship throughout the year. So every student from first year onward to the 4th year will spend 120 days per year. So if they do that for all of 4 years, you're multiplying that out, you're looking at close to 500 man days, work days during the career of that college time of that student. If that person comes out, and I say that during my days in America, my very first summer there, I worked as a labor in a factory, and part of the job I swept floor. As far as I'm concerned, no job is too high or too low. Every job will teach you something, and that must become a part of somebody's work culture. And this continuous internship is going to get them these kinds of issues embedded. Team-based projects involving real-life problem solving, using new teaching and learning processes for both content and faculty training in internship model. Until the faculty understands what this is all about and we train them for it, how are they going to mentor and guide the students, as well as getting the students ready for internship? We must tell them that when they go to the job, what to expect, what to do, what not to do, and get them ready for it. So they're not there just coming in as fresh faces. If the industry has to also invest in training interns, then their money is wasted. The colleges must prepare this. And as we finalize this model, we've got some good ideas put together, but we do need your help to make sure that what we talk about is doable, practical, etc. Now let's talk a little bit about the training and retraining of faculty. There are two types of faculties. Brand new faculty that comes in into the teaching process, and they bring with them the way they were taught in the college. The existing faculty has been teaching the way they've been teaching all these years. And that entire process has to be changed. Now, who goes into teaching normally are the people who don't have as much initiative, and so this they feel is a safe and comfortable job, so they go into teaching. But these are the people adding value to our young minds, and unless we get them ready, it's not going to work. About 7 lakh, 700,000 faculty in 3,500 engineering colleges in India have to be trained. This is a huge, huge task. Just awarding more PhDs is not going to do the job. And the current faculty has varying level of capabilities and level of enthusiasm. And I sort of saying this in a positive way rather than negative, but a lot of work needs to be done. The faculty has very little industry exposure. Maybe some of it is starting to change, but there is a long, long way to go. And we therefore need to deliver on that continuous internship model that I just talked about, along with the project-based learning. The proposed roadmap for implementation. So what we're saying is let's assemble a team of gurus for each subject area. So if we talk physics, we must find 3 best minds in the world that can teach physics with real life problem oriented learning of fundamentals of physics. Pay these people well and also give them some intensive incentives linked to outcomes. And they should not focus on writing word for word the book. They should give out the concepts, and we should back them up with a team that helps in the production side of it. We have to use technology to train such large number of people in a short period of time. And we've got to pilot these things, learn from it, and then to scale. So the scale and speed both matter. Then whatever we do, we must monitor that and measure how it is working, both qualitatively as well as quantitatively. Are we making progress in problem solving abilities and confidence level of students? Response of the faculty and college leadership, response of employers like yourselves, and also to monitor how is the placement doing, because that is the way the students assess their success. Are their pay packages going up? Are they getting multiple job offers? Are they getting good satisfaction when they get to work, after they join the job, and how well are they progressing? Now, a funding model for these things, there are different phases. I'm breaking it down. There is not much new funding needed right away for a proof of concept, which is what we are trying to work with these 12 colleges. Then we have to quickly move into more of a pilot phase of implementation, whereby government, some donors, as well as I hope major employers will put in some money more for content development and faculty training. To do, and they should not do it for philanthropic reasons. They should do it for bottom line reasons. In phase 2 of that, again, some more government funds and etc. But then we should start earning royalties on the content that we develop and market it to students in India and abroad. The global publishing market is today begging for new solutions, not just in India. And there is a financial opportunity for India in there. And in phase 3, if we do this right, we can make the whole thing self-sustaining. The role and opportunity for employers, like yourselves, is to deeply participate in the continuous internship model for students and faculty. Help in content development, mainly to guide it, keeping it current, and measuring and mentoring of students. Provide projects for students to work on, and help in enhancing student employability. And do it to benefit you, to reduce your new hires training costs and get a huge return on investment. Again, like I said, don't do it for philanthropy. Do it because it saves money. Now, I'm going to use a couple of case studies. You look at things like automotive parts, look at plastic parts. Now, here is what goes on. India imports over 10,000 crore rupees of automotive parts from China, over 19,000 crore rupees on plastic parts. Now, I recognize that China has an advantage of volume and high level of automation. But can we, through industry mentorship and student faculty all working together, can we achieve the required level of cost as well as quality and on time and delivery, etc., for the lower volume compared to what China produces and yet be cost competitive? Can the things like the Toyota principles be used here? The A3 model that Mr. Parasuram talks about. And how colleges can participate is that the detailed analysis of import data, pick the low-hanging fruit, get on with it, learn how to analyze the problem, work with the industry to understand the cost structure, identify areas that can be impacted, and form groups of colleges, form clusters, do something specialized, collaborate. There is no alternative but to find a better way. There's a need for innovation and entrepreneurship in academia. As I said a moment ago, we have to move from printed textbooks, the way all of us have studied, to more interactive multimedia ebooks. Also, the young minds today understand the new media. They will not read 500-page books anymore, but we must deliver that content in a better way so they can absorb and retain this thing better. Make the content dynamic, rapidly changing as the needs of the market change, and stay as a leader. Make it locally customizable, a new model for delivering of the content at an affordable price. When I went to college in America, a hardcover textbook was costing around $5 to $10. Today, it's costing more than $250, and even kids in America cannot afford it. There's a huge opportunity for India here to do disruptive technology-based ebooks that are world-class, state-of-the-art, and you can not only sell it affordably to the Indian students, but also sell it abroad and get good royalty income out of it. The market is begging for that. This is a recap of a slide that I showed you earlier. What's in it for you? Just to make sure we refocus on what we started. To a large number of people. Now, if you look at somebody that, let's say, employs 5,000 employees and they hire 10% new a year, that's 500 per year of people. And if we spend 6 months to a year training them, that's a lot of investment that employers have to do, and there is an opportunity cost there also. Similarly, extending it to further to medium and small companies. Now, can we change this paradigm massively? Can we cut the training time down massively? I believe we can, especially if we make the internship and good content of training as a part and parcel of this. I believe we will see a radically different way. When I talked earlier about the software policy, when there was not even a data circuit, and I started talking to policymakers and politicians in Delhi, I had to explain to them what hardware meant, what software meant, and what the opportunity for the India would be. And people were asking me, but we don't have a presence in the market. What makes you think we can succeed? And I used to tell them that we must figure out a way to get on that market and become successful, because there is an opportunity. This is the same thing I feel in this case here. We should not let a day go by without participating in it aggressively. I'm going to wrap up in a few minutes. I've just used up about 30 minutes out of my allocated time. And my goal is in another next 5 to 6 minutes at the most, wrap this up. What are the next steps? Is please join the initiative if you agree. I hope you agree, at least some of you would agree. And if you do, let your BCIC secretariat know of your interest. Tell them about your profile, your company's profile, and etc., and how you can participate. But we will need an executive sponsor. You cannot just delegate this thing down to somebody that's a first, second level manager. We need somebody way at the top that takes interest in it is willing to be the executive sponsor, and then they can appoint a coordinator for this, but that should be a tag team. We need your help in finalizing the continuous internship model. We put out a model. Perhaps it has flaws in it. We need to make it better. And do not only in the internship, but beyond, when the people join the job. There are some issues that we need to think about so that there is a longer term bonding between the intern and the company that helps throughout the process. I'm not saying that you need to pay these interns. If you choose to pay, I'm sure they'd be happy to take the money, but they need the knowledge far more than they need the money during the internship. You need to help by sharing problems and mentoring of the faculty and the students by the mentors in the industry, so that some of that investment of time has to be made by you because it is good for your business. If you are interested, we will do a special workshop for the collaborators. I'm willing to do live session. I know you're recording it. You can play this, but if you want to repeat this 2 or 3 times, I'm happy to do that. For me, it's not a money issue. It's a national service issue. Why I take interest into these kinds of things. The right in your backyard is Dr. Subramania. His college is one of the 12 colleges that are participating in the proof of concept. And he was also just this week in the meeting on Monday selected by his peers to be the one of the rotating chair people of the leadership of these institutes. So he's there. He's a common link, and there are others. But as I said, we need your help. And this is the last slide that I have, which basically ties things together. It is a national problem. We all, I think, agree. Over 3,500 engineering colleges, more than 4,000 polytechnics, and more than 2 million students coming out of these institutes every year. And it is sad to say that anywhere from 70 to 80% of them are not employable. I mean, this is a national loss that is hard to imagine, that we would let such a, the country talks about demographic dividend, but this is demographic liability, flip side of that coin. We must fix that problem. We require innovative and scalable solution, and we need it to be very rapidly implemented. What we are working with right now with these 12 colleges is to do first year curriculum of multidisciplinary problem solving by each of these colleges, starting a batch of scholars of about 60 students. So maybe if all 12 participate in it, we will have about 700 odd students as a part of the scholars program. And we want to have content for the first year multidisciplinary involving physics, chemistry, mathematics, etc., ready by July of this year to roll out for the academic year. And as I said earlier, there is a major role to be played by you. Huge cost saving opportunity for you, according to my mathematics. I hope you will agree with it. And we're ready for the collaboration with you. The organization I talked about, or there may be other ways that you may find it interesting. IUCEE is a not-for-profit organization. They would be happy. I help them wherever I can, as I'm trying to do through this particular session. So the time to act is now. India needs your help. The society needs it. But above all, you need to do it for yourself. And that is the last part. I used up about 35 minutes. I am ready to answer any questions you may have, but Rupa or somebody has to manage the technology. I'm not very competent when it comes to that part of it.
Prithvi, we request anybody who has got a question to raise their hand.
Yes, sir.
And then Ravindran is there. I would request Ravindran or somebody to moderate it rather than everybody asking questions. Parasu, that is what I would suggest, Parasu. Whatever you suggest, let's go ahead with it, Parasu.
Yeah. That's fine. I think.
So Dr. Ravindran is not there.
Do the moderation.
Okay.
Do I need to do something on my side?
No, sir, you don't need to do anything, sir. You can be there,
You
sir.
don't have to do anything.
So
You
you
don't
can
need
come out of
anything.
that presentation mode, sir.
Sorry.
You can do the moderation, not an issue.
So you can come out of the presentation mode so that we can.
Oh, come out of it. Okay,
Yes.
I did.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir. Probably I'll request anybody. Tiago raise a hand. Tiago, you want to go first, Tiago? Please raise a question, Tiago. And
So Tiago Valliyappa is one of our past president of the chambers, and they have also huge experience in educational institutions.
and
They are running
they've
the
got a
Sona
bigger
Valliyappa
education
College,
institution.
and
And they've got the biggest education institution in
bigger,
Salem.
one of the biggest polytechnics in Salem they have. So Tiago, I think you are the right person to talk on this.
Thank you, TRP. Thank you, Shekhar, and good evening, sir. I think you covered very broad on a very macro level. I think from Sona College of Technology, sir, Salem, we've been involved in education from 1958. The Tyagarajar College and Tyagarajar Polytechnic College have been founded by my great grandfather Karmu Tyagara Chettiar. And over the years, we have evolved a lot, and in the last about 15 years, we have focused a lot on Industry Institute Connect, and glad that CII AICT award for the last 8 years, we've been involved in the top, we've been winning them. And over the last about 5 years, our focus has been more on the mentoring. And AICT has come out with the Marga Darshan scheme, which is again mentoring about 25 to 30 colleges in the region of Salem. And Sona is one of the mentoring colleges. Similarly, if you see the Industry Institute Connect, as a matter of fact, the 3I program, which the committee hosting today, I was the first chairman who initiated this at the Bangalore Chamber back in.
I came out of the present. What do I need to do?
Sir, if there is any question to come, probably you can respond to that question, sir. That's all, sir.
Yeah. Just 1 second. I'm trying to come out of the presentation mode.
Sir, you have to stop sharing. There is one
You
button.
can just stop sharing.
I'm looking for that icon.
Sir, if you go to that leave, before that, there's one arrow mark box, content is there. Icon, you click there.
Okay, fair enough. I got it.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah,
No
so
problem.
I will just get to the question. So we would love to know what we can do as both as an industry as well as a large college base with teachers and faculty. What would be the role that the teachers can play? Because we have more than 20 teachers here today who are also listening to you. That is one question, sir. And secondly, I think I will connect with you offline because we are also just started our naturopathy and yoga college at Salem. So I think that's more your topic today. So I will connect with you separately because I think the focus more is on the NEP. So as of now, if you can give us an idea of how college and the institutes can be play a role on this.
Right. If I understand your question, there was some echo coming through, but I'll do the best I can. And I would love to interact with you offline. Prithvi has my number, but those of you, I should have put that on my presentation. Maybe there is a way for me to put it, and I'll put it back up. And both my email as well as telephone number. If you send me a message, I'll happy connect with you. If your college or others that you know might like to participate in this proof of concept initiative we are talking about, that may be the fastest way to join, because there is some work already being done, and let's leverage and let's collaborate rather than duplicate. Does that make sense? And with your rich experience for last so many years, a lot of us can learn from you.
Sure, absolutely, sir. So we would be more than happy, and we would certainly like to connect with you. As a matter of fact, I think Dr. Agilandeshwari is here. Agilandeshwari, you want to just talk about our teaching learning practices?
That, or we could take that up on a separate channel. I mean, I'd leave it all to you.
Sure.
But
No, I think
but
that
yes,
can be discussed separately, maybe.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
Scarcity of
Yeah.
time.
So
Thiago
that
sir,
way we can.
probably we can request you and Akilane to have offline discussion, Mr. Dr. Sharath Marathi. That would be great for you and Akilane.
By
And
the
you
way,
can also get a lot of.
I'm not a doctor, but thanks for the promotion.
Thank you.
Anybody has got any?
Yeah.
Dr. Subramania, you have got any points to add, Mr. Subramania? You raise a hand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thiago,
Please
I
go ahead,
think whatever Sharad Marathe is telling about the proof of concept. So we are already 12 colleges, and I'll send you the information to you separately. Then you can be in touch with me. I'll connect to Krishna Vedula and Sharad Marathe regarding the same.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I see one is in the hands of placement and DR. I do not know what it is. Placement.
Yes.
If you,
Yes, this is
you can
INR,
go.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So very good evening, sir. This is INR Placement Officer from Tyagarajar Polytechnic College. On behalf of our institution and our dynamic Vice Chairman Tyagu, sir, we thank you so much for organizing the wonderful session with the Sharad, sir. Our question is for the technical education. So there is always the challenges between the institute and the industry. So that's a bridge the gap between the institution and the industry is it's a long question mark. So our question is, even though diploma institution doing very well, the industry is mainly focusing on if the candidates taking from our institution, from IIT, NIT also the same candidates they are taking from. I'm not like to mention the company's name, but the salary packages differ from those candidates and our institution. Even though they are having the very good capabilities for our institution, but they are giving the much more benefits to the higher education institution only.
Let's
How do we
do
overcome
this.
that? That's the
No,
main challenge we are facing, sir.
I follow your question, and I
Yes.
know you're going with this, but in the context of today's session, let us focus on what we talked about and where, what you talk about is an interesting issue. The only way to me that is addressed is let the market forces speak for themselves. That is the only language I understand, but that's not for tonight's discussion.
Okay.
No offense.
No,
I hope the president agrees with me.
No,
Yes, sir.
fully I
Yes, sir.
agree with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely right.
Anybody has got any questions, sir? Sir, if nobody has got a question, I just want to ask only one question to you, sir. If
Sir, I have a question.
who is that?
This is Kesha.
Yeah, please go ahead, Keshav. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a suggestion, and I am quite impressed with the presentation done by Sri Sharad Marathe. So, sir, I saw your action plan, specifically with regard to engineering practicals. What we have, especially those practicals that are done at these colleges, I see a lot of potential in using this augmented and virtual reality, especially from the companies like manufacturing practices, or even a small thing like using a drawing board or using a CAD and how they really model or do some sort of milling, those sort of actual groundworks which can be seen and then executed in the labs. Some sort of cooperation between the laboratory resources and the industry available resources, if it can be mapped through the technology, I think that brings in a big bridge, in terms of understanding when they really go for the job.
Yeah, I mean, everything, I believe that at the end of the day, there are no perfect answers. We should look at it, all of the above, as the solution. Where technology plays a role, let's use it. But I will come back to the comment I made earlier. There is no substitute for sweeping a factory floor.
I understand that completely. I think that becomes a core learning.
And I don't mean it in a false sense of humility, but people have to be in a job environment, a factory or a job, etc. I'm in a technology business. I can relate to virtual reality, augmented reality. I understand it well. But these people need to be immersed in a daily work environment. And that I hope becomes a core of what we do. And let's augment that with augmented reality and virtual reality. I'm not saying let's ignore that.
Yeah, I take your point. All I was trying to tell you is the kind of equipments the engineering colleges have and the equipments the factory or the office work environment have, there is a sea of difference. And the most of the time, adoption is the biggest challenge. That's where I come with the issue.
No, fair enough. And let's put this, I made a note of it, and let's use some of these things, best ideas going forward.
Sir, I just
Thank
want
you
to
very much, sir.
I
Thank you.
just want to support this question with another example. Our labs are used for about
No,
18%.
let's not dwell on each topic too long.
Okay.
That's I want to see more ideas come forward. I've made a note of it, Keshav sir.
Just to sum it up, sir, 18% of our labs are being used. 82% of our labs are not used as an education institute.
The name of the game is not so much to you have more use of the labs. Let's get these people in the field working in the factories and offices. But they are not mutually exclusive. They are mutually inclusive issues.
And similarly, sir, if you compare our education setup with the US the corporates as well as there's a huge there is no disconnect. There is a seamless understanding between a corporate as well as an institute. But in India, there is silos in that in such a way that there is a big difference between what you learn and what you use in.
But that is precisely why I'm saying we need to get these kids in the workplace. You know, in America, the kids grow up fixing lawnmowers, fixing cars when they're 12, 15 years old. They grow up, we don't know what a screwdriver looks like, what a flathead screwdriver and what a Phillips head screwdriver looks like, what a box wrench looks like and what a crescent wrench looks like in India, because we don't get that opportunity. I believe we have to get them in the field where whether it's a small machine shop or a big factory or an office, they need to be at a workplace.
Sir, at the same time, if you really look at
can I do one thing? I'd be happy to talk to you offline.
Sure, sir.
Because I want to try and get more questions from the audience.
Sure.
Sure, sir. Anybody else got any question? We have got another 5 more minutes. I have only one question to you, sir.
Sir, shall I raise it?
While you touched upon all the important areas in the teaching and education system, this is purely my observation. I would like to understand how you need to go, how as a country we need to go about it. One of the challenges that we have is that we don't have a good quality teachers. And the lack of quality teachers is due to the lack of institutions that train the teachers also. So unless we improve that particular infrastructure, the education as a system, we may not be able to achieve the desired results. That's purely my humble view. I would like to just get a response from you on how to go about it, sir.
No, and you are 100% correct, but I would say that we don't need a new institution. What we are talking about in the proof of concept is to select some faculty that participates in creating these new content, and to get the faculty also into internship.
Right.
The faculty needs to go visit the Toyota engine factory. The faculty needs to be at various places of work so they know what it is about. What they know is what they read in the Google and in the textbook.
Right.
That's not going to cut it. And you know, there are hundreds and thousands of institutes, and there are 4 that are set up by the government called NITR, National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research. I know these outfits well. And what we no offense to any of those, I know how they operate. What we need is even those people don't have a clue of what goes on in the industry, and they are supposed to teach the teachers. There is a huge disconnect, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And we need to get this factory into, rather the faculty into factories, into place of work. They have to be put to work.
Right, sir.
Otherwise, how would they mentor somebody on what kids on what they need to learn? So we are developing in the proof of concept areas to involve them, to bring incentives into it, and etc. Because unless we hold a carrot in front of them as well as a stick, it's not going to work.
Okay.
Because we will, I have done some sessions at NITR when they go for 1 week, and they go for 1 week of training, so they get a certificate that is useful their promotion. The whole damn thing is aimed at compliance. It is
Right,
not
sir.
it's not aimed at learning.
Right, sir.
I mean, I don't want to sound like I know. I don't want to sound like I know it all. I really don't. I'm there to learn from industry. And when the kid shows up to work after 4 years of college, what is it that that person lacks? We must make sure that that is what is imparted.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Marta sir,
Sir,
we
I have a
have our
question.
chairman.
We have a last question. We have only, Prithvi, we have only 1 more minute to
This
go.
was
I would like.
we'll hear from industry manufacturing chairman, Mr. Prakash.
Okay.
Prakash sir, can you put your thoughts in this from the manufacturing sector perspective?
Yeah, good evening to Mr. Sharad. See, my thoughts are basically, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So my thoughts are very much in line with what he is saying. The faculties, of course, have to be strengthened on the job itself, and there is a big disconnect. There too, I agree. But one of the thing which I keep, in fact, even we have been putting our proposal is industry, what we call as a corporate academia responsibility should be thought of as a policy change, is what I think, to basically bring in all these changes under one umbrella, which you say as a industry and academia connect is a big miss which is happening. Hello.
Yeah. Sorry.
So this is what one thought which I feel is a policy change which we should bring in, so that under the similar concept of corporate social responsibility, if you want to actually really make the change happen in the institution or academia and connect well with the industry, this change I think should be brought in. I think whatever you have explained under various concepts, and I think 50% of the responsibility is with the industry as well. I feel corporate academia responsibility is one such a policy which encompasses these things under one umbrella, is my thoughts in this.
Sir, I agree with you. My only suggestion is that would we need a new umbrella, or I want to appeal to your bottom line example, that can we do something? Can we look at this as an initiative to reduce your training cost? Instead of 6 months to 1 year, can we cut it down to 3 months? Then there is a benefit for the employer, and let that benefit translate into action. Unless there is an incentive of that fashion, this thing will not work on policy or corporate social responsibility issue. This is not a philanthropy, will not solve the problem. We will keep talking, write reports till cows come home. But we must say, okay, why should industry do it? They should do it because it benefits them financially, quality-wise, competitively. Yeah. They should do it out of self-interest.
I agree with you, but I see this is going to happen with the bigger companies. Definitely, they are doing. In fact, we in Toyota are looking at internship from a long-term perspective. We do hire the students. Can you hear me? Sorry, I am traveling. Maybe I may lose.
No, I'm able to hear you. I'm able to hear
you.
As a OEMs and the big corporates, definitely they are doing it. There is no doubt about it. Take for example the Toyota itself. The internship program starts not just after the college, but we do take people interest and interview much before we hire them. And when we select people, we select for internship itself on a long-term perspective that they are going to be with us and on the roles.
No,
So if you ask me a particular industry, if you ask me a particular industry or a OEM, definitely they are taking the lead. But if you really want to change the entire thing, okay, it happens in the pockets and we are done with it, then it's fine. But I am saying about from a bigger perspective, how do we do it?
Well, this is where BCIC and organizations like that come in. Let's get the ideas together. Let's get the people together. And you may be today interviewing interns when they are in the third year of engineering. I'm saying let's take the interns from first year onwards, 2 days a week continuously throughout the year. Will Toyota be ready? So that's the type of provocative question I want to ask. And that is true for small industry.
Yeah, I have my thoughts here. I will tell you one thing. The 2 days in a week, I think your proposal is a 2 days in a week throughout the year.
Yeah.
It is good for the learning, no doubt. But as we keep saying, even industries are looking for utilizing the man day spent in training them. They should be getting some output of it.
Of
What
course.
happens is in this 2 days, rather than a 2 days a week, I would suggest every semester, maybe about 2 months in a semester or a 1 month in a semester he should spend in the industry rather than what do you say, start stop activity.
What my suggestion would be, you bring up a good point. My suggestion is let's look at multiple models and test them and validate them. And
That's
then
right.
we know what works the best and do more of what works the well. And there may not be one size that fits all.
So just an example, sir, there are a lot of these electronic companies, even take, for example, the new ACs which are coming up. We are trying to get them get into an AMC kind of a model where our students start doing AMCs for different companies. So as you pointed out that they have hands-on learning, this could
Perfect.
Yeah. So they'll also reduce big time.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, if you work somebody for let's say a networking company, and that kid goes out and does solves troubleshooting Wi-Fi problems for somebody at home or in a small business or wherever it is. So all I say is let's look at multiple options, test them out, see what works well, but do it rapidly. The time to think is gone. Time to act is now. I after I talked to Mr. Parasuram, I learned about something about his A3 concept. Then I went and did some research. I'd like to see that kind of a approach be brought into our educational process.
Right.
Because until we do, I remember in America, back when I went there, Japanese products used to be called by Americans as cheap Japanese products. Nobody would dare to say that today. They would look at as cheap American products. Japanese products are beyond question the top quality. Why? Because they went at it with a conviction. Not a single detail was left to chance. And I hope that we as a country roll up the sleeve and start doing many things and see what works well. That's my humble request to you. And my hope is out of I don't know how many companies were participating in the meeting today. Prithvi, can you tell us? Rupa, anybody?
So I will share you the companies who have.
No. But do you know how many? Is it 50? Is it 100?
No, today it will be around today it will be around 40-45 companies, sir.
Okay, fair enough. Let's say 45 companies. Can we get 5 out of those to say, you know what, we would like to work with you on a proof of concept? If so, I would call it a success.
Right.
Then when we learn from these 5, 25 more will join. It has to happen exponentially.
Right.
But we must begin yesterday, not today. That's my sense of urgency is what I want to communicate. And I want to communicate that do it for your financial interest. Don't do it out of goodness.
Right.
Now, if we can do good, if we can do well while we're doing good, it's okay. But the time to work on one of you talked, I think Mr. Keshav talked about, or Prakashji, about policy level issues. I will try to take this up at a policy level people. But I know, say, for example, AICTE and all is trying to develop a portal-based thing where it's a shadi.com. In the employers put up the requirements, students go search. I'm saying let's look at that as one more tool in the toolbox, but not the only tool. let's look at many options in parallel and see what works well.
Right, sir.
So I hope that you would agree with my success criteria. And if we can get 5 to say raise their hand and saying we'd like to be a part of it or to help out, I would be delighted.
Thank you, sir. Certainly, what we can do it, sir. What we can do it, sir. What we can do it, sir. We have a bigger management council and the leadership group in BCIC. What we would like to do it, sir. We would like to circulate your presentation, and then we'll request Parasuraman as a president to share your thoughts to the management council meeting the next month. And also we have next week we are having a chairman and the co-chairman of all the expert committees meeting. We are convening it. We would like to circulate your presentation there. We'll also mention it. And I'm sure when we have a dynamic presidents like former president like Tyagu and Mr. Ahmad Ali and who are all the top-notch people, definitely BCS will be able to give more than 5 to support the cause at this point of time. I'm very confident about it, sir.
So my other request is and you talked about a couple of these dates, that if we get 5, that'd be great. If we get 15, that is fantastic. But
Right.
how soon can we get it?
Right, sir.
Because the
probably before 31st March, sir. Soros, is it fine, Parasu, by 31st March, Parasu?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
So I think how sir is looking at it is on an urgent basis. So maybe I don't know if there is any format which we need. I'll speak to Dr. Subramania also, and straight away we could look at it even before that.
So you said March 1st, and that's fine.
That's right, sir. That's right, sir.
So what I would suggest, I would request Dr. Subramania of III Industry Institute Interface to share it with a larger audience of the Bangalore chambers. Then get the ideas, whatever you have said, and get the people on board. I think that would be the fastest. And we have got a lot of big companies. So what we can do is we can participate more in this process. We can request these companies to nominate some key people on this activity. All I'm looking at is action portion, what you suggested. I fully agree with you. We need to act very fast. So we can get the nominations, key people from these companies to participate in this activity. I think that our AAA committee together with the manufacturing committee, and we have an MSME cell headed by Mr. Indu Shekhar of Volvo. So I think these 3 committees are key committees for this activity. We will get them on board, and I request Dr. Subramania to percolate this, and Bangalore Chambers will fully support. And we will send you the list of the participating companies, like, big companies, small scale industry, so that you get the collective voice on a heterogeneous basis, so that they will able to serve the larger community.
Yeah, exactly. You see, my goal was not to talk and to try to impress people and somebody walk away from it. My goal was to call to action and to act fast and act tangible, measurable fashion, so that we know if it is March 1 and 15 and we succeeded and we got 12, fine, we got 12. How do we make it, expand on it further going forward? That's where we have to learn and act on. Because, every day 50,000 new Indians are born.
Yeah.
A new Australia, a new Canada gets born every year. And therefore, the opportunities that get perfection cannot become the enemy of good. But I want to, I know we've gone over the 1 hour time period, but I want to say how humbled I am about having the opportunity to be in front of you.
Right.
And to share the views. And I hope to learn from you and for us to grow together. I'm an old timer. I turned 76 in August, but I don't mind working for a larger cause.
Right, sir.
But once again, many thanks. The team also helped me a lot in troubleshooting, getting organized. Prithvi and Rupa did a good job. My thanks to them. And above all, my thanks to Mr. Parashuraman for making me a part of this afternoon for you.
Our pleasure.
Thanks a lot, sir. With our pleasure, sir. Thank you so much. Parasuram, over to you, Parasuram.
Thank you, Shekhar. On behalf of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, BCIC, I sincerely thank Sri Sharad Marathe for a wonderful session which is kindling the cause of a great cause for the nation. I think this is definitely a timely call that he has given to all of us. And it is the responsibility of all of us to act on that. And as you rightly said, the bottom line is very, very important. Because if you don't show the bottom line, there is no carrot. And again, it will be sleeping. So I think it's very, very important that the end in mind should be made very clear. And to achieve that, what kind of initiatives are required? I think from the industry side, from the academia side, and from the trade bodies like BCIC, CII, ACMA, I think it's a collective measure that is very, very important. In fact, sir, when I was the chairman of Quality Circle Forum of Karnataka, I kickstarted some of the quality circles in the city engineering colleges and some of the city schools. So all these things were aimed at catch them young so that once they come to the kind of industry, they're ready to work in that kind of atmosphere. See, the quality circles are not existing today in the engineering or in the arts and science colleges. These quality, circles teach them networking, team working, and how they can realize the importance of other people. So these kind of great qualities, softer skills, which are also lacking today. Of course, today what is happening is individual excellence has no meaning unless people work in teams. I think this is not going to give a kind of a significant output, sir. Therefore, what we feel is soft skills as well as the hard skills.
Yeah,
Which will collectively-
if I may get 30 seconds more, I wanted to share something with you from 1969. To say, when I came out of college in America and worked as a research engineer, I learned more from technicians that were assigned to me. And every job that project that we did, I used to sit with them and ask for their inputs. And when you talked about quality circle, that rekindled the thought that these guys were the best teachers I ever had.
That's right.
Because they would take my harebrained ideas and show me how to make it practical.
Absolutely, sir. It is not just the knowledge. How do you convert the knowledge into an application? That's what Quality Circle brings about. So you need to really implement. And you said the sweeping story. I think charity begins at home. In fact, I used to sweep, my company many times. All my Japanese friends used to sweep. I think cleaning is not just cleaning. Cleaning leads to checking, and checking leads to detection of abnormalities, and detection of abnormalities leads to countermeasures, and which leads to corrective action and pride in the workplace. And this becomes a continuous vicious cycle. And your entire eye becomes jaundiced. Whatever abnormality around you, you become sensitized. I think this is how that whole revolution happens. It is not just cleaning, as rightly said by you, sir. I think the cultural change. So we thank you once again from the bottom of our heart, because you brought out a very, very important subject which is very much required for the nation. I think to take it forward, especially in the launch of the new educational policy, whatever you talked is very relevant, sir. We are very thankful to you, and we look forward to see whatever way we can contribute from Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And thank you once again, sir, for the wonderful session.
And I have promised.
Thank you, sir. A small memento from Bangalore Chambers, which will reach it to you.
Well, thank you. The best memento when I come to Bangalore, I hope in the next 2-3 months we'll have a chance to meet.
Sure, sir. So we'll have the national anthem played, sir. We'll have the national anthem played.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
We'll have the national anthem played, sir.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you,
you
sir,
also.
once again for the wonderful session. Look forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Namaste. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank
We'll
you
all
so
have a group photo. I think, can we all have a group photo? Prithvi,
Yes, sir.
can you all come? Yeah. Can
Sure.
you all just come? So that we'll have a memorable photo with Sri Sharath. Prithvi, you have to come on the video.
You know how far the technology has come. In 1984, I had to convince people why 64K circuits were important.
Very
And
true.
I had people used to ask me why you would need 64K circuits.
Yeah, Rupa madam, you should come.
This title to take. Can you take?
And she's there. Rupa is there.
I don't see her.
She's there.
Okay. Yes.
There she is.
Yeah.
Okay. Prithvi, go ahead and take the photo, Prithvi.
Sure, sir. Okay.
Yeah, I've taken it in my iPad. Yes. Sir, your face, I think there is a. You have to come down, sir. The face is slightly
Go
cut.
back a little bit. Go back a little bit, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
that's correct.
perfect. That's perfect.
Is that better now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It's better, sir.
That's perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Sir, we
Thank
will
you.
take it up with our AAA committee and we'll
Yeah,
see what is best we can do and we'll revert, sir. Thank you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Thank
And you know, for the rest of you, when I heard Mr. Parashuraman talk at his YouTube video, I was so impressed. I said, we must work with this man.
I'm honored, sir.
So for me, it's an extra pleasure. That was his convocation address at a university.
Sir, on a lighter note is we call him TRP. So when you talk to him, you get trapped. So TRP stands for trap almost. So he's a very good person to get trapped with.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
We call him TRP, sir. TRP is TR Parshuraman. So
Uh-huh.
on a lighter note, when you speak to him, you get trapped.
But you know, it's a good trap to be in.
Exactly.
Sir, we are all trapped today, sir.
Yeah. So some traps are good, some traps are not so good. This one here, I would call it a pleasant trap.
Absolutely.
You are right.
Okay.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thanks a
We'll,
lot.
connect.
You're most welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.